Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. Working on a 2004 Toyota Camry today, and its power steering return line has seen better days. This is only one fraction of it. Now, I ordered a new line from Napa, and it came through, and it was the wrong one. So, I told the guy he could have his car today, and now I'm in a pickle. I cannot get the correct line for a couple of days. The car's already tore apart. I didn't anticipate doing a video, but I thought, just for the heck of it, bring guys along. I think the video is going to be dumb. Perhaps you'll find it useful in what I do in a situation like this and how I make my own, power steering return line. Which it's really not that big a deal. So in this case, I'm just using regular 3/8, NICOP line. And we have the old line, and I'm pretty certain I remember how it goes, in relationship to where it broke off. And we have a couple brackets we need to transfer, this being one of them, which is still in decent condition, and the other one is just non-existent. It actually rotted out right at that bracket location, or darn near it, and it just crumbled to pieces. So I have one of these just kind of universal line holders and a self-tapper. We're just going to reattach it to the engine cradle if we can. Now, when you're replacing just a section of pipe like this, I see a lot of people make a mistake because they don't put any kind of flare or anything on the end of it. So when you put your power steering line back on, use a couple, worm drive clamps, you jam it down, and then a couple weeks later, off it goes. What I do is I put a little flare on the end of them. Now I use the GM transmission flare, I guess it would be on the end, because it provides kind of like a, one-way barb. It's smooth going on, but it's almost impossible to get the hose back off, which is good for assembly, but crappy for disassembly. And it closely resembles, the factory flare. So you guys can see that. So pretty similar. I don't have a tool that makes the bulge, but it's as close as I can come. And again, that's just to keep the hose from coming off. Now the 3/8 line, even though it's NICOP, is a pain in the neck to work with. And like I say, I just try to mimic this, and I just use my little pipe bender, which seems to work well. And I'll go get a magic marker and make some magic. Oddly enough, I had one in my pocket, and I didn't even know it. I went over to get it, and it was in my pocket. So usually I'll just make my first bend, make my flare. I'll just hold it up on the line. I want the beginning of my flare to start, or beginning of my bend to start right there. And I just get it as close as I can. These are kind of a pain in the neck to work with because the 3/8 one is on the inside, and sometimes you got to kind of plan out your bends where they're going to be. I don't do this perfectly, but we try to get it as close as we can. Usually once you bend it, there's no going back. Just FYI, this is not as forgiving as, like, let's say 3/16 line. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll start my bend like that, and I'll just bring it over to my, you guys are going to be right in the way. I'll bring it over to my old line, make sure it's just about in the right spot, and it is, and then I'll just, go back, give her little tweaks. Every little tweak job. Try not to overbend it, whether it's NICOP or just standard, 3/8 tubing. It is hard to undo a bend. It's also kind of hard to create them sometimes. Just tweak her a little, line it up. We're going to come up, we got to make another tweak in it. In order to make a mark. Once you get it close and you just got to give it a little bit, you can just grab it by hand and do it by hand. So we need a mark, we need a little bend right there, but not much. Not much, but just enough. I don't know how much these benders are. I used to have a really nice metal one that was just like this. Actually, it wasn't mine, it was my old man's. And then I think, this one's made by Robinair. I purchased this one quite a long time ago. It's held up pretty good, but you can see it's got its battle scars. It's been around SMA for a long time. Back before the nylon fuel line, you used to have to bend a lot of fuel lines. That was always a pain because depending on how meticulous you are, it can take a long time. Now I buy my tubing in bulk. This is all I got left of about a 25-foot roll. Just make sure you have your bends going in the right direction and the right way. Sometimes I'll give it just a little tweak by hand. Just a little bit there. Make sure we're heading the right direction. We are. Doesn't matter. You get as close as you can. You stick it in the car. You swear you weren't even in the neighborhood, but. What's up, Vinny?
Not much. Warehouse is coming along.
Yeah, I see that. Getting everybody in an uproar, is he?
Huh?
Everybody in an uproar?
I don't know. I don't give a damn.
No.
What's on this piece of junk?
Oh, power steering line's all rusted out. Typical. Good old salt, you know. Let's see. A lot of times you can look to see how it is broke on the end and you can realign it. Give you an idea as to which way it goes. I think. Let's see here. I think it was like that, which would make sense. We're going to assume it was. We're assuming something, Vinny.
Well, you want to assume it, don't you?
Oh yeah, I know what it means. Trust me.
Makes the ass out of you and me.
That's right. Mostly me, though. All right, that looks good.
The guy that does the work, that's you make the ass out of
Yeah, that's me.
Yep. Well, keep on assuming.
I will. See you, Vinny. Give that a little tweak there before we get too far. See if we can line this back up. Like that. Yeehaw, I think we're doing good. Let's see. I'm a pain in the neck. Let me see if I can get this thing set. Probably should just throw a piece of tape or something around it. And just stick a screwdriver around this to hold that down. There we go. Now we got a better idea. Oh, we missed a tweak. I don't believe there's any interference where this sits in the car. I should have recorded getting this out and stuff, but I didn't. It's kind of a cramped area that it's in. Alright, I think we're getting closer. And we just got one little tweak to make there. The little minor bends you can just do by hand. Now this area is where it had the clamp on it prior, which the other clamp was quite a bit longer. It reached over to the frame. So we're going to have to do a little tweaking once it's in the vehicle, for sure. I think that's good enough for the girls I run with. We're going to mark it, chop it off. We're going to use our flaring tool, flare it out, and then hopefully we're good. This is all I've got for line. I have to call down and order another roll. It's one of the few lines I get in the 25-foot section. Usually I buy 100-foot rolls of brake line. Don't use much 3/8 line anymore, except you get in a jam like this. And the NICOP is nice because, you know, it won't get rusty on us. It'll look like the Statue of Liberty in a couple days. It's got a fair amount of copper in it. Just deburr the end of that so it's nice and shiny. We'll grab our hydraulic flaring kit. A lot of people in the comments ask why I don't buy a hydraulic flaring kit. And I have one. I've had this thing for years. I bought this right after they first came out. Now this is a newer addition to the tool, the ability to do the GM transmission lines, which I can honestly say I've never made one because you can buy them for next to nothing. I think you can buy every training line on most GM pickups for like, I don't know, a little over $100 for all three of them. I like the ability to, you know, flare stuff like this. It gives a nice little flare for rubber hose connections. So this set is made by Master Cool. They're kind of spendy. I bought it way back in the day. We used to do a lot of GM fuel lines, and you needed that O-ring connection, that bell flare or whatever it was they called it. And you can make that. I can make, you know, push connects for, you know, like fuel filters and plastic fuel line quick connects, stuff like that. So there we are. There's that flare right there. Hopefully our hose will slide over it. We'll have the clamp down here just like the factory, and then like I say, that prevents that from ever coming off. There is our finished product. We can just hold this however it looks good. I think that went in there something like so. So there's that. There's what it looks like. One thing we will do is try to transfer this clamp, if at all possible. I got a pair of pliers right here. Sometimes these things just turn to crust. But we'll open her up. If we can at least reuse one of the clamps, it'd be great. Just dribbling. Now that faced that direction. We'll see if this thing is slotted. And it is. Clean off the rubber, and you can reuse it. One of the few rubbers you can actually do that with. Right, Mrs. O?
Sure. You're always right. Uh-oh. Did I get myself into trouble by agreeing?
No, I'm just talking about cleaning off the rubber so you can reuse it.
Oh gosh.
This one, right here on the parts steering line.
That's what I would do.
That's what I do.
I'll be right back.
Where are you going? Huh?
To the store.
To the store?
Yeah.
See you in a couple hours.
What?
See you in a couple hours.
Don't give me that permission.
I didn't give you permission, I just know you. So we're going to rotate that back around. Squeeze the little dongers on it back shut. If there's any squeezing left to them. Can you guys even see what's going on? Probably not. Alright, let's see. Give that a squeeze. Give that a squeeze. We'll tap some of the rust off this thing. Probably should have done it when we had her out in the open. Alright, good enough. There's that, and like I say, this other little guy, we'll find out where that's going to go once we put it back in the vehicle. I think that's it. We made our line. We're good to go. For those of you interested, this is the hydraulic kit that everybody's always talking about. And again, like I say, it is made by Master Cool. This one is a Blue Point, which just means reboxed and overpriced. But I believe Master Cool is the OE maker of this tool. Handy tool, kind of big and clubby if you're trying to use it on the cars. That's always my excuse to people when they say, why don't I use this on cars for making brake lines because it's better, blah, blah, blah. But it's huge. You know, I'd rather use just my small, you know, die set, and I can move along quite a bit quicker with it. So, yeah, that's that. See if I can find a link. Put it in the description box. Now, this is the hard part to record. This line sits and runs along what's left of the engine cradle. So I'm going to just try to fish it up through here. Now, of course, it came out in 2 pieces, which always makes them come out easier. Let's see if we can't just snake it up through there without tweaking it any more than we have to. Oh, always at the right time. I swear. Pull back. Come on, little fella. Noodle fella. Alright, it's stuck it in there all the way. Won't be the last time. So I'm going to take the clamp up in the front, find whatever I did for the bolt I took out of it, which might be right in my pocket. It's not. There's a couple of oil change slips. I'll find it. We'll get it reattached. Where's the hole? Let's see. We are close. Yeah, right in there. Oh, let's see. See you, Vinny. Where the thunder are you? Ooh, there she is. Do it by feel. There's that. There she is. Okay, I know you can't see much of it, but that side is in place. I think it runs absolutely beautiful, actually. Wow, we did a pretty nice job. We'll have to do just a little bit of tweaking, like I say, to get this front clamp on. I'm gonna hook up that front hose first, so. Let's see if we can slip the hose clamp on it. You don't want to forget that. Now, this can be kind of tricky because, like I say, we got that barb on there, but I say it's tricky and then the thing slips right over, it clicks right in the old spot. Let's see. Some days it's better to be lucky than it is good, right? Get us a hose clamp, tighten her upper. We'll stick that up on there. I think this line was like 60 some bucks for a new one. Of course, the new wrong one, which was really close. It looked almost identical, but it was just a tad bit different. It was the same but different, if that makes sense. So there's the front half. Our clamp is right here, and now we got to go hook up the back half. So underneath the car, on the opposite end of the line, I just slid the existing rubber hose over, clamped it. Now a lot of people are going to freak out because they see the end of that hose is flared out. The rubber portion of it, that's because the old line was so rusty in there, it just kind of swelled up. I should have just trimmed off the end of the hose, but it really makes no difference. The metal pipe is quite a ways in it. We're past our barb. Now the original clamp was right here, right where that rusty clump is. Here's all that's left of it. It just turned into a turd. And it was essentially in this manner, it bolted to the top of the frame, which it really doesn't matter. We just want it to not vibrate. So we're going to take and stick our clamp over it, the one that I have here. And we're just going to pick a spot and we're going to drill it and put a self-tapping screw in it. And that's going to hold the line stationary. And no, it's not going to crack his frame or make his car fall apart more than it already is. Frame's already getting crusty. She ain't gonna be long for the world anyways. And besides, the frame already has lots of holes in it. So before you blow up the comments about that, that's how we're gonna do it. And I think that's gonna be the best option. We'll use the self-driller. We'll attempt to get her in one hoorah using an impact. Why? Well, because that's what we do. Look at that, first try. Now don't over torque them because you can snap the heads off them. But that's just a self-drilling, self-tapping screw. And now his power steering line, we're gonna have to tweak just a smidge on that end just to get it up off the frame. So just get underneath it, give her a little tweak, that way it's not touching. And that's it. It's attached at the front, attached at the back. We'll give this a little douche with some fluid film, and it's good as new. keep that clamp from rotting off. Spray the other one, if you can't see, take my word for it. Yeah, all right. So there it is, start to finish. Comes around town, up and over, onto that clamp, and back up to the reservoir. And that's it, folks. Pretty straightforward. Kind of run through there. Got to put all the plastic kibbles and bits back on it, and we're done. And that's it, folks. Of course, fill it up with the appropriate approved power steering fluid, and bleed out the system and all that stuff you do after a line repair. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully, like I say, you found the video helpful in some way to know that, if you have, let's say, I've done some cars where those lines are just discontinued, some Mitsubishis and stuff I worked on, they just don't make it. So we'll just take some 3/8 line, take the bender, little flares, tweak it, twist it, bolt it back where it was, and Bob's your uncle. And that's it. Look down in the comment box for descriptions of where you can find these kind of tools if you end up needing them. Like I say, the hydraulic flaring kit's kind of spendy. It works absolutely beautifully, but in my opinion, it's kind of big and bulky to be using up on the car unless it's absolutely necessary. So go down there, look for that while you're down there. Click subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. Find us around our socials, Patreon, and whatnot. Just remember, viewers, if I could do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.